lot of AI is really just trying to accelerate something that's done currently manually today. We think the real opportunity is for transformational change. And this goes to what we call dynamic due diligence. I'm Chris Green, CEO and co-founder of Xapien. Xapien is a B2B SaaS business providing dynamic due diligence. Xapien exists to help clients answer the question, what does the world know about this third party? Whether they're investing in them or using them as a supplier or taking a donation. And that historically has been an offering dominated by professional services firms. And what we're seeing is that market and all professional services is being disrupted by AI. Typically, there have been lots of activities that have needed to be done by humans because they're necessarily difficult and complicated, but they're just heavy lifting. They're heavy lifting of data. And actually, what we're seeing with AI now is that can be replaced by the machine. And that allows then humans to do the bit that they do really well, which is to apply judgment and nuance. In terms of adoption of AI, I heard at a conference someone suggest that AI is doing to professional services what the production line did to manufacturing. We're looking at a really fundamental disruption. And in terms of who's adopting, well, actually, it's a really mixed picture across lots of industries. Something we see often actually is some clients or some prospects are very keen to be able to demonstrate that they're adopting AI solutions, and some others are reticent because they're AI solutions. So as we sell, really, we're looking for those that are in the former camp. Xapien work with risk and compliance teams who've traditionally been very conservative, and we're seeing this then with adoption of AI. But it's important to remember that the bad actors that we're seeking to deal with have no such inhibitions with phishing attacks and deep fakes and everything that we're seeing happening in the world. And so our clients are really conscious of that they can't afford to be too conservative. With the adoption of AI, the really exciting opportunity is to approach things in a transformationally different way rather than just an incremental way. So I think back to, I'm old enough to remember when we adopted document record management systems, and if you're an archaeologist looking at those early systems, you'd be able to trace them back to card index files and filing cabinets. And it was only later that we saw, being able to search across documents and those sort of things. The idea that today a human-led due diligence approach is necessarily static. It's a once-in-time, what does the world know today? Whereas with AI, well, we can offer a more interactive due diligence report. You can ask questions of the report, but also you can then have that due diligence live for the whole lifetime of your relationship with the third party. That's fully transformational. In today's business environment, organizations aren't just judged on their behavior, but they're judged on the behavior of their third parties, their suppliers and their investors and others. And so a key decision they have to make is, should I work with this third party? And traditionally, that's a decision that's made based on due diligence, and that due diligence happens very late in the process because it's expensive and manual. With AI, and this is what Xapien does, we move that upstream in the process. So clients, before they've invested any effort in a third-party relationship, can understand whether or not they are going to want to work with them. And therefore it becomes a real business enabler. They decide what relationships they're going to invest effort in developing. What we've seen over the last few years in sharp relief is the risk environment that businesses are in can change rapidly, whether that's sanctions regimes or emerging concerns to do with environmental, social governance. Today's risk isn't necessarily tomorrow's risk. And again, if you've built then a human process, a manual process around dealing with a certain set of risks, that means as an organization, you're not as flexible as you'll need to be in today's environment. And this is where AI solutions like Xapien can help. We can help organisations deal with tomorrow's risk rather than just today's risk. In terms of practical advice for adopting AI, something that we always come back to is, are we solving a real business problem for our clients, or are we just following some cool trend or theme? And that, I think, is the risk that we're seeing, is organisations adopting AI washing their offering in order to sound cool, but taking their eye off why they exist, which is to help their customers solve a real business problem. Something I hear time and time again is the best use of AI is when integrated into a broader offering. So linking to an LLM and using it to summarize something, there's no differentiation there, and actually it's not going to be tailored to the business problem. So what we see within Xapien is we have hundreds of machine learned models that are operating, and we will call LLMs. And the key thing is we've stitched a solution together which solves a business problem and uses the best of different AI capabilities. One of the challenges for entrepreneurs in this AI-led environment is the environment is moving so quickly. And we've certainly seen during our 6 years that there are things that we built in the past which we were really proud of, which we can now buy as a service. And so we've had to be prepared to throw things away because something better has become available. Now that's within an overall solution. It's a component of what we do. It's not all of what we do. But that's a key thing, I think, for any entrepreneur, is be prepared to throw away something that you invested effort in because things have just moved on. Another thing that we've learned along the way is Xapien ultimately should be a universal solution. We want Xapien to be a verb. Have you Xapiened your third parties across all sectors? But we can't get there overnight. And so we've had to be what someone called, and it stuck with me, uncomfortably narrow. And so we focused on a couple of sectors that aren't even necessarily our endgame largest sectors, but they were sectors where we saw that we could move quickly and we could build revenue quickly. And actually that's been really, really important for us to get traction and not get distracted, particularly in building a go-to-market where you're trying to get ranked on Google, you're deciding which conferences to go to. It's so easy to get spread so thin. And so always challenge yourself, are we being uncomfortably narrow? Another major challenge with AI firms is hiring the best AI talent. And something that we believe strongly is the culture that we've built as an organization is a key reason people will join us, as well as making money and working on difficult technical problems. And so we've worked hard over the last 12 months to define what we've called our core principles. We have 9 core principles, and they're things like move fast and be always decent, hire A players. You can see them on our website. But for us, they're the essence of how we do things around here. They're kind of us when we're at our best. And actually, they've been super helpful in attracting talent, and then making sure that as we grow, and we're growing quickly, actually we retain the essence of what makes Xapien special. One of the opportunities that AI is creating for small businesses is it levels the playing field with larger businesses, and in many ways actually almost pushes the playing field in the advantage of the small businesses because they can move quicker. What do I mean? Well, we found as a small business that pretty much everything from a business perspective that we have as challenges, someone else will have also had that same challenge, whether it's creating a user community or doing some online marketing or training. We're constantly looking to see where can we buy in a solution to solve this for us rather than build it ourselves. And that allows us to move quickly. Usually it's cheaper, but actually critically it allows you to move quicker as an organization. The other key thing is this is moving so quickly, and so maybe a year ago there wasn't a solution, but today there will be a startup somewhere that is trying to address the problem you're trying to solve. And so this is a very dynamic situation. The key way that AI is disrupting professional services, business intelligence, is it's offering a fundamentally different way of doing business. If today's choice for due diligence is look on a database or pay a human to go and do a week's worth of research, Xapien and AI solutions are offering this third way, something that allows you to get the depth of information that you would get from a manual report, but in a few minutes, very similar to a database lookup. We work with a number of Ivy League universities doing due diligence on potential donations, and one of them was telling me a previous story of a 9-figure donation that they were nurturing and nurtured for 18 months. They did due diligence, realised they couldn't take the money and had to turn that money down. And you can imagine the standoff in the institution with that kind of decision. What we allow is the opportunity at the start of that process to say, you're never going to do this, you're never going to take this money, invest your effort elsewhere. Another example would be we work with a banking as a service provider, Xapien, and they are providing a banking platform to fintechs, offering then a full set of services. And they use Xapien at the very start of their process. Whenever they identify a potential partner, the first thing that they do is Xapien them. And actually it's changed the relationship between the compliance team and the sales team, because actually now the compliance team can say at the very start of a process, put your effort elsewhere, as opposed to being the one that's saying no at the very end of the process. My final bit of advice would be, don't do it on your own. You build a team, found with someone else. There are 3 of us that lead Xapien, and actually I couldn't imagine doing something like this and carrying the weight of it on my own. But actually with a few of you, you're able to see, when someone's down, right, it's my job to be up today, and challenge. And so yeah, I'd find people to do it with would be my major bit of advice.